Well, hey everybody, 650 Ebe here. Welcome home to the channel. It's a beautiful day here in November, but I want to tell you, a couple weeks ago, I had a fantastic opportunity to go to Valencia, Spain for the final round of MotoGP, thanks to my friends at Motul, and it was an epic trip. We're going to get into that in just a second because I think you're going to enjoy everything that we did. It was an amazing 3 days of just pure awesomeness. Indeed it was, and I wish that I could have had just one of my beautiful bikes, specifically this one, over in Valencia, Spain, to ride with all of the awesome people over there because they take riding very seriously in Spain. Lots of people showed up to the track on their bikes, all sorts of machines. There was Harleys, BMWs, Ducatis, Gixxers, you name it, it was there. And it was really fun just seeing all those bikes out and seeing how people go crazy over MotoGP in Spain. Okay guys, we're somewhere in Valencia and it is beautiful. The weather's great. We're about to go get some dinner. Look at this place, man. Wow. A lot of old school flair, but a lot of new and very clean flair. You guys know I like clean stuff and I like motorcycles and scooters. And there is no shortage of motorcycles and scooters here, guys. Well, I will say that our good friends at Motul know how to throw a party. This entire rooftop is set aside for Motul and its guests. Somewhere roaming around, there are MotoGP racers and other awesome people. You know, I really didn't know what to expect. When my friends at Motul asked me to go over to the final round of MotoGP in Valencia, I thought, well, you know, I've been to a few different rounds of MotoGP in the United States and outside of the United States, and I thought, you know, this would be cool. But when I got the itinerary for all the awesome things they had planned for us, I was simply knocked off my socks. So we just arrived at the track, and the first thing we're going to do is jump on these little baby bikes and do some spirited racing amongst ourselves. And I guess there's going to be two teams, and we're going to go up against each other, and there's going to be winners and losers. You guys better be betting on me for this challenge because I'm going to win. All right. So now I'm in this racing suit. It's not an Alpinestars, so I probably shouldn't be showing you it, but it's all they got. And my group is almost up, and we're going to race these freaking bikes. Okay, back in my street clothes. That was a lot of fun, riding those small Honda bikes on this track in different settings. Learned a lot from that, believe it or not. And I've always thought that that's exactly how you should start your track riding career, by riding super small bikes like that very slow, just to get the feel for riding on a track. Let's catch up with the rest of the group and have some more fun here. So this is going to be my table for blending some oil here today at the workshop. And this is going to be interesting. Now let's see if this is a little more fluid. So I'm going to, I only got one of these contaminated. Whoa, tire right here.
The real test after, we'll put this in your bike.
Oh, one of those bikes that just rolled on the track? One of those little Hondas? 63.65.
Okay, right.
My oil is going to be high performance for real.
Now you're going to be moving there
Okay.
to steer it.
All right.
Yeah, unfortunately, we got only one steering place.
That's fine.
Yeah.
It's looking good so far, guys.
Absolutely.
And when we're actually experiencing these amazing events and stuff, and it was all in a very nice format where it was extremely welcoming for everyone. There were people that came from all different parts of the world speaking a multitude of languages and everything, and somehow our friends at Motul made everyone feel welcomed, and everyone had a great time immersing themselves in just the richness of all the activities. It was really great. I really can't put it into words, and I'm not sure if these video clips are truly going to give it justice, but I will say it was a most fantastic event.
And then over there, we'll have the chief technician and the engineer. Okay, so these two guys here work specifically with their rider and only with their rider, because whereas the mechanics, if there's a circumstance of dire need, if say Miller destroys both bikes in one session, Oliveira's mechanics will go over there and help them to fix both bikes. So we will help each other on both sides of the box, right? We do it because we all like each other, but some teams have a divide and, you know, it's your problem. So they'll help each other out. But the engineer and technician only work with one rider, because each rider has a different way of communicating information, and they have a different riding style, so the data that they get is very unique to them. So if they were to switch, it would be a problem because they wouldn't really understand each other that well. Then, as far as the bikes are concerned, we are a factory team as well. So everything you see inside here is exactly the same as Monster Energy Yamaha next door. The only difference is the sponsors, such as yourselves, and the colors of the bike. Okay, but everything is the same as Quartararo and Ritz. Okay. We have 2 bikes per rider in MotoGP. Does anyone know why? What the real reason for having 2 bikes is? That's a secondary reason. No one knows? So, okay, every bike you see in here, the 2 bikes here and over there are Yamaha M1s, okay? This is an M1, this is an M1, 2 more over there. So they all look the same. Not a single bike in here is the same. Every bike is different. So the reason for that, let's stick to Miguel's side. He has 2 bikes that are different. Why? It's because every circuit we go to is different. So there's different performance aspects based on the circuits we go to. So for example, last week in Portimao, it's a roller coaster of a track. Up, down, lots of elevation changes. In Silverstone, it's flat, right? So by having 2 different bikes, one will always have more performance than the other one. Okay? So you can't see the differences, but the differences might be different chassis, different swing arm, different suspensions, electronics, mapping, setups. Sometimes the swing arms, for example, might look exactly the same, but one is softer, one stiffer, one weighs more, weighs less. So there's a lot of different aspects that go into it. So on Fridays, during the practice sessions that we have, we try both bikes with so many different setups every time. We go in, out, we switch. And by Friday night, we'll look at the data, speak to the riders, and we'll be like, okay, bike number 2 is the best one at this track. So we will use this one as the key bike for the weekend. Then the second bike will be set up as closely as possible to the first, but it will never be the same, okay? So when I ask this question, a lot of people say like, oh, in case they crash, or in case it rains. And I'm like, yes, that helps. But if you crash during practice, fine. You come back in, you switch bikes, and you go out. The same during qualifying. But during a race, if you crash, your race is pretty much over. There's no point in switching bikes because we don't do pit stops, so everyone else has already gone, pretty much. So the only 2 occasions that we switch bikes during a race is, well, one, if during the sighting lap, warm-up lap, to go to the grid. Well, I guess the sighting lap before the grid, if something's wrong, they come back in and change to the spare bike. And then they will go back on the grid, and that's fine. If the bike stops working during the warm-up lap, after everyone left the grid, they have to come back inside, get the second bike, and then start from the pit lane. So if they start from the pit lane, well, they're at a disadvantage twice, because the bike they switch onto will have less performance every time. Because it's a secondary bike, it's secondary for a reason. And they start from the pit lane, so basically it's like starting last and even more behind. So we don't want to switch them. If it rains, if there's a flag to flag, they'll come in and switch bikes. But a wet weather bike is completely different than a dry weather bike. So it's kind of like having a third bike that doesn't exist, but we created right before it goes out. So a lot of people just think that we switch the tires, which we do, but we can't just do that, because a dry weather bike with wet weather tires is suicide. Because dry weather bike is way too stiff, way too powerful. So if it starts raining, we're like, okay, let's make the wet weather bike. We switch the tires, we have to soften the suspensions to make it much softer. We change the windscreen. So in our case, our windscreen for the rain is just 5 holes here, so the air goes through and it doesn't create condensation on the inside. And then you change a bit of the devices, the suspensions, so it's like a third bike, essentially. So I explained why they're different. Between riders, they change even more. So, for example, the main differences are down to the physical differences between riders. So, for example, Miller's about as tall as me. Miguel is a bit shorter, right? So you'll see Miguel's seat has a big, thick foam padding here and 3 carbon spacers at the back to bring him to his distance from the handlebars, right? Jack's seat, on the other hand, is completely flat. He does not have the foam padding, and he has 2 spacers because he's taller, so it goes back. So that's an obvious difference. Then you can't really see it with your eyes, but Miguel's handlebars are a bit shorter, and the bike itself is maybe a bit shorter as well. So it's a matter of millimeters, so it's not that different, but it's enough for the riders to feel the difference. So if you switched Miguel and Jack on their bikes, it would be very difficult for them to race. And then a lot of other differences are down to the rider preferences and their riding style. So for example, my favorite difference between the two is that, well, the rear brake. So the rear brake itself is the same for both riders, but how they use it is different. So Miguel, like on most MotoGP bikes, the rear brake can be operated with your left thumb, with this pedal right here, okay, or the right pedal over here, okay? With Jack, because he's a crazy Australian, he had them remove the thumb brake completely, and instead, here, he has a motocross pedal instead of a MotoGP one. So MotoGP, you'll see right here is like a cylinder with rubber on it. Jack has a full metal motocross pedal that is a triangle like this with a full metal and a lot of grip. Yeah, because he's used to flat track riding and whatnot, and he prefers it that way. I'm pretty sure he's the only guy in MotoGP to have a motocross part on a MotoGP bike, but it works for him. I don't know how, because the thumb brake is useful when you turn right, for example, because when you brake, a lot of riders put the leg out to, slow the bike down a bit, and then they go. So you can use this while your leg is out. With Jack, I just assume he hits the brake really hard and then just kind of prays that it was enough. But it's down to riding style. Another difference is the ride height device. Does everyone know what the ride height device is? No? So the ride height device is what the guys use to lower the bike, the rear of the bike. They do it most obviously for the start, Okay, so when you see them arrive, they will lock the front suspension, which I will show you in a second, but then they also lower the bike to be as close to the ground as possible, because these bikes are so powerful and light that they risk bouncing off the start if they start really fast. So what they do with Miguel, he has this little lever here that looks like a very small clutch. Okay, so if I put my, I don't know if I can bring it down all the way for you guys, but I'll show you. So if I press this,
Oh, look at that.
I can lower the bike. So right now, this is pretty much the lowest it will go, okay? So when they start, this bike is fully lowered like this, okay? Then I showed you the manual version. So now, you see, I put my weight on it and it went down. Obviously, if I'm sitting on the bike, it's easier. If I press it, it doesn't come up, right? So I have to pull it up myself. The reason for that is because the ride height device works with speed and pressure and G-force, right? So at the start, they do it manually because they're not moving, right? And the weight will bring them down. But when they have to race, they use the device maybe 3 or 4 times throughout a lap. So every time they come to the last corner, the bike will lower itself. So every time you see them on the main straight, they're on the ground. But to do that, if you have to do it manually every time, it's too much work. So we can program the device to go down when it goes over a certain parameter. So you will press this button here that pretty much unlocks the device, and when they come out of a corner and there's a certain pressure on the tail, the bike will go down by itself. And then when they get to the end of the main straight, for example, they brake, all the weight displacement moves forward, and the tail comes back up by itself. So it doesn't go down at every corner, but some corners that are more intense and you would prefer to go down, the bike knows that when it reaches a certain amount of pressure, it will go down by itself. So you don't have to do it manually every time. Then, I mentioned before the front suspensions for the start. So if you guys know anything about motocross, the whole shot device that they use at the start, this is pretty much the same thing. You will lift this, which you can see. If you look on this side of the bike, actually I can show you here. So if you look here, if I lift it, this hook comes out. Okay? So when they get to the starting grid, you'll see that they brake really hard at the front, like this. So they will lift this before, this will come out, and when they push down, it will lock right here. Okay? So when it locks, the front fender is about this close to the front wings. And then once it's locked, they can put this down, it will stay locked, they do the start, and when they get to the first corner, they brake, the weight goes down, the hook comes back in, and then they don't use it anymore for the rest of the race, okay? And then if you look at the handlebars here, there's a lot of buttons and switches. So this top black button here is for the launch control, for the start. Then you have different engine maps. So there's 3 options per map. They decide this, the rider, with their engineers. They're very easily changeable if you want. Right now you see the bike is plugged in, kind of like a HDMI cable. You plug it in, it goes straight into the computer. They basically send an email to the bike, and it goes straight to the buttons. So they can switch it whenever they want, as long as they're inside the box. Then, over here, the red button is the kill switch to turn everything off. The green one is the pit lane limiter, which we can also program based on the circuit we go to, because the speeds in the pit lane might change. In Phillip Island, it's a very tight pit lane, so they lowered it to 50 kilometers an hour. Here it's about 60. And then one last thing is the gears. So on a regular motorcycle, you do first gear down with this pedal on the left, first gear down, and then second, third, fourth. Here it's inverted. So yeah, so MotoGP, but also most racing bikes in any category. So you do first gear down, and then second, third, fourth, all the way to 6th, and then to shift down, you go up. Okay? The reason for that is that it's much more comfortable to shift downwards than upwards. So So when they're on the main straight and they're fully locked in their position, it's much easier to just do this, to shift up. And then when you brake and you go like this, you shift down by going up. So it's much more comfortable to do. Even in corners, when they're at a deep lean angle, it's much easier to go down, because if you have to go up, it's like doing this to the bike every time. And it's uncomfortable and you lose time with this. So, again, another difference from regular bikes is neutral. So on a regular bike, neutral is between first and second gear. You find the middle, right? We cannot have that on these bikes. Because if we find neutral by accident at 350 kilometers an hour, the gearbox explodes. So what they do, they have this little button right under here, which they will push, grab the clutch, and go beyond first gear. And that way they can put neutral when they want to and never put it by mistake. And then, well, I can keep talking, but if you guys have any questions, please let me know. I'll try and answer them.
They've got horsepower here, massive horsepower in all forms at this beautiful racing event. All right, guys, so I got my hat signed by Jack Miller and his teammate, and he actually remembered signing my Jack Miller Alpinestars Supertech R10 helmet back at COTA earlier this year. Great memory. I didn't think he would remember it, but he did. And he is signing stuff for everybody. They're really cool guys. They were out here racing today.
Beg your pardon? Sign your shirt? Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much.
Very cool.
Legend.
Super cool.
Thank you very much.
Legendary. Really nice guys. Wearing a nice watch too.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. I'm gonna get a picture of his freaking watch.
You're the best, man.
I believe it's a Rolex.
Legend. Thank you.
That's nice. That's nice, Jack.
Thank you.
Very cool. So yeah, man, hanging out here in the Motul suite today. It's been awesome. Going out here on the track for a minute. She's been super cool. Her and her husband won the Motul fan experience. They came today. She's been filming stuff for me. Thank you so much for doing that.
You're welcome.
Yep. She's been enjoying it. Her husband is too. Really cool people. Being able to walk the grid right next to all of the racers that I see on TV and YouTube and everything, and to see their size. I mean, every single one of them is a lot smaller than me. Those are my calipers from Moto Million right there, guys. My tires look like this after riding on country roads. Say they don't. Top Rack, Razgaki Loku. I didn't get to really interact with him very much. I saw him, he walked past me. He's a tall dude. I'm 6'3", he has to be about 5'10", 5'11". He sort of towers over the rest of the riders, but he's really a cool guy, and I'm so excited to see him on the Pramac Racing team next year, riding his Yamaha M1, and I hope that my good friends at Motul can somehow get me connected to hang out, interact with him. Fingers crossed. But yeah, man, the culture over there in Spain related to motorcycles and MotoGP is just next level. It really has me scratching my head trying to figure out what we can do here in the United States to get that level of enthusiasm from motorcycle enthusiasts and riders, because it's just something special over there. Lots of people ride motorcycles, all different types. You see a lot of couples on bikes. I mean, it's just amazing. And they treat the MotoGP riders like we treat celebrities here in the United States. It's really great. Those riders work their butts off to ride those bikes at the level that they ride. It's extremely difficult. It's very taxing on their bodies and everything. So I think that they deserve to be treated like that. And it was great to see. So I'm definitely looking forward to more trips like this, more rounds of MotoGP. I hope that I can get some of you viewers that are watching this video to come out to MotoGP. We're trying to make MotoGP Americas in Texas, which I believe is March 28th through the 30th, 2026. We're trying to make that a very special event. Do some great activities. I want to trailer my bikes out, have them on display for folks, because I'll tell you, these bikes look totally different in real life as viewed by your eyeball sockets than they look on your TV or your mobile device when watching the videos. So it is worth coming on out to check these bikes out whenever you can. So that's it. This was an exciting race here at the Valencia GP. I'm happy about the results. I can't tell you who actually won the race or show you any footage from the race, but I can tell you this was an epic, epic weekend. Thanks to my good friends at Motul USA for having me out here in Valencia for the final round of MotoGP for 2025. Stay tuned, because next year, 2026, I'm going to attend a lot more rounds of MotoGP, so you're going to have to keep watching. Yeah, Casey says yes. Yes. Hey, this is my good buddy Casey, guys. He's an amazing guy. Met him in 2016, and he has been an exceptional friend and person that helped out the channel a lot. So give him a good shout out, guys. Thank you, Casey.
Thank you, Eve. Love you, bro.
Thank you, man. He's an awesome guy. All right, guys, keep watching. I'm going to continue to walk through this beautiful area here, check the awesome fans and people out, and head back to the United States. We'll catch you on the next video, guys. Thanks for viewing. Don't forget, ride something, ride safe.